It didn't work. I pressed the wrong button. Good evening, good morning, and good night, peoples.
Hey, how's it going?
We have Mr. Nate. That background doesn't work too well. Let's just do that. We have Mr. Nate here, Mr. Forged in Crypto from NerdNode. Oh, good. You have the logo up there. Good. From NerdNode here to, I don't know, tell us some things. He's been doing a lot of work recently.
And to be fair, I'm not doing a lot of the work. There's other people that are doing way more work on it than I am. I'm just
you're the executive producer.
Yeah. And I will say that so NerdNode has been developing the DeEEP Network, which is kind of been this vision I've had ever since I started first hosting nodes for myself, like back in the day. Like I hosted my own nodes, my own Gala nodes, right? I've told this story before. I'll make it quick, and I was not technically savvy, so I had these little puck boxes. I got like 7 of them and stacked them together. I fabricated my own little metal case that I could put them on, and I hosted them all on there. They're like $100 little box. And this is back when Gala was earning whatever a lot of Gala token, but it wasn't worth anything, right? So, and then you had to manage them all the time. You know this, Faz. It was like constantly they were going down for some reason or another, and it was just annoying. I had other things I was doing, and they didn't. There was a huge issue. It went down. They were down for like 2 weeks, and I was like, I don't know what is happening here. Finally figured it out, and Doc got a hold of me. He was like, hey, just send me yours. I'll host your nodes for you. And so I didn't know who Doc was. He wasn't working for Gala at the time, but found out he seemed to be like a pretty trustworthy guy after talking with him for a little while. And then he hosted my nodes. And then when he started working for Gala, I offered to buy his clients from him in the business itself and just kind of take it over and continue that going. He didn't want to do that. It was kind of like conflict of interest stuff, which is totally fine. But we ended up hiring. So I had a business that bought more nodes with a business partner of mine, Chris, which I know, Faz, you've met Chris before. And one of his old employees, helped us kind of stand him up and start running those. And that's kind of where the vision, as it started working down the road, was, being able to kind of, these aren't decentralized. They're all being ran on AWS, most of them, right? People are buying virtual servers and running them on there. And I wanted the idea of a decentralized server network. And that's me in my dumb talk, just kind of the idea of it. And that was in 2020 to 2021.
And that was the time when I first met you, when we were talking about stuff, and you said, I'm getting into the node business, because you're like, what do you think about crypto? What do you think about Gala? What do you think about NFTs? And I was telling you, and then you're like, I'm getting into the node business. I remember that very specifically. We're sitting outside of the diner.
Yeah, we're outside the coffee shop, chatting, which was kind of funny. That was a very interesting one, because the way you found Gala and I found Gala were completely different. It wasn't we knew the same people, but we lived in the same town, so that was kind of a small world. It was kind of cool. But then fast forward from there, I was introduced to Ben Corrado and Chris Corrado. Ben's listening now, and they were. Funny enough, they owned a business that was below my old business in one of the buildings that we worked at. And, I didn't know what they did. I had no clue, but I found out soon after, I got introduced to them again in that, they were deep in like kind of hardware, software space. They did a lot of IoT device stuff, and they came in and we kind of were collaborating on different projects. Helium was going big at that point in time, and we were thinking of doing like a box with like an add-on Helium thing, and a whole bunch of different ideas thrown around. Fast forward to where we're at now, and it's come full circle all the way back, and we made it official, well over a year ago with NerdNode and the owners of that, and really wanting to push out this decentralized server network. And it's taken a lot of work, a lot of a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort to kind of get where we're at, and we're excited to kind of start showing people what we're bringing. So that's the DeEEP Network.
Titan, you haven't said a goddamn thing.
End of show. Thanks, guys.
So, for those who may not be familiar, everybody here that I can see that's watching, as well as people who have watched in the past, know Nate very well. Nate was on Faz Radio with us for probably better part of a year back in 22, I think it was. I can't remember. And one of the big things about Nate that I've learned over the years is that he's a doer, right? He's not a talker. He's a doer. And in this space, there's a whole bunch of talkers and very few doers. So that is, I think, what separates what you do from what a lot of these other, what they call themselves, Web3 companies.
Web3 armchair commandos. That's what we call them.
Well, all right. So really, this is, I really want to hammer home on this, because we've called out other organizations such as Gala and everybody else that there's a whole lot of talk going on, but not a whole lot of production on anything. And over the years, as you guys kind of alluded to, in the past, you set some plans and you're actually doing things. NerdNode was a reality. NFTD's a reality. The collective's a reality. The fundraise for the collective is now a reality as of a week ago or so.
Yeah.
And this DeEEP Network is a reality. There's physical boxes that you can touch and that are ready to go and that are going to be doing amazing things that we'll get into here tonight. I want to scream, because somebody's actually somebody's actually doing something. They're not just talking about it.
I'm gonna call you on one of those. You said Gala Games doesn't do anything.
No, here we go.
They do things, but the problem is the way they do it is the problem. So I wouldn't put them in the list. They've done a lot. It's how they've done it and what they've said and how they've advertised it is the problem.
Look, they've accomplished a lot. They pissed people off.
Hey, Titan. We'll leave Gala where it is. I appreciate the comment. I do, and I thank you very much. I will tell you this. I've learned a lot from Ben and Anthony as well. We brought Anthony into NerdNode late last year, I think, officially. Early last year. I can't remember how long he's been with us now officially, but between those two guys, I've learned so much on the tech side and what goes into it. I have this idea, right? And I bring the idea to the table, and then they look at me like I'm crazy, because I have, it's like they're like, you can't do that. And so it's like, well, how can we do some stuff? And they're incredibly smart, and Ben's been around the business world as well, so it makes him incredibly valuable. And I've learned a boatload. And as much as I'm the front man here with most of the people that see it, those are the guys that are making it hum, and they're awesome. So it's been super cool to work with them. And I'll give you an example. We went down to Consensus what was a month ago, I think, month and a half ago. And Ben, he's like, I'll go down with you. I'm like, sweet. And watching him talk to people and be able to really explain what we're doing on the technical level, but also in the business mindset and how we're going to do it is amazing. So it was super cool to see him work down there. But yeah, anyways, thanks for that comment, man. I appreciate that. I hope that what we deliver with DeEEP is going to be at even close to what I'm in my head as it's going to be. It'll be amazing. So,
well, and we talked a little about in the premium section about the light paper being a little heavy, and you're pulling that down a little bit with another version for maybe somebody who's not perfectly technical, which I think is another huge quality of what you've provided in all of the things that you're doing, the collective and NerdNode and DeEEP. you're taking these really, really complex things and breaking them down so that people can not only understand them, but interact with them in a meaningful way, right? So even your 2-minute, elevator thing where you were talking in premium, it took what, a minute 45, and I understood completely what it is you're trying to build.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, because a lot of these projects out there, my God, there's so many by the ways and this and that. You don't even understand what you're doing or what the goal is. And you're able to articulate it very well, and you're starting simple, and there's always room to improve. I mean, I just respect the hell out of that.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you say that, because we have a whole lot of by the ways behind the scenes that we're like, yeah, no, we can't do that. Okay, where are we at? There's so much that we want to do, and that's the thing for me too. Like I said, I'm learning, and it's like I want things to move faster than they always do. And this, it's like, okay, how are we going to do this? Who are we going to hire for that? And honestly, Manny's been great too, to be able to bring in and facilitate that, what you're talking about there, the ability to explain things in a visual manner. Like, he's got that artistic side and he understands it and can clearly explain that to people too. So yeah, this is interesting. So you talked a little about the history of kind of why you're doing what it is you're doing. So explain to the people watching, what the hell is the DeEEP Network? So the DeEEP Network is a decentralized server network, essentially, like in the short of it. So we are going to be sending out hardware nodes there's going to be software on these nodes. So there's the DeEEP software, essentially, that runs all of the workloads that we're running through it. So we're going to send those out to people that purchase those hardware boxes. And then we as NerdNode, these are two separate companies too. So NerdNode is a node hosting suite. Like we're a full service node hosting company. So if people don't know,
that's been around for a while. Yeah.
And it's been around for a while. So we will host your nodes and make sure you have your uptime. We manage everything. That's NerdNode. The DeEEP Network is going to be where NerdNode runs those workloads, those nodes. And nodes are just kind of the start. They're just the tip of the iceberg and what we want to do. It's kind of been where we've started everything. It's what's funded NerdNode and created the money to be able to create this and move it forward without raising money and doing a pre-sale and all that kind of stuff. So with that, we're able to build what we have and now send out these boxes for people that want to be a part of this network and share in the rewards, which essentially share in the work that's being done from like NerdNode. And that's the thing too. So there's so much to it. Okay. Anybody on the DeEEP Network will be able to be a NerdNode too. So NerdNode, like I said, is a separate company. The DeEEP Network is going to be its own company and will ultimately be a DAO or a DAC down the road. So as it develops and grows, we're already going to be implementing a voting structure for different avenues that we want to move along, different workloads that we want to bring onto it, all that kind of stuff. And then it will be a fully functioning DAO, so we can fully decentralize that entire network, both on the hardware side and on the ownership side.
So if I'm understanding this right, so NerdNode right now, you host people's nodes. Regardless, you have a whole host of organizations that you can host nodes from. And
right.
Just for simplicity purposes, I don't want to get into the minutia, but as an example, so people understand what this means, you'll take those and you'll run servers that will run those nodes that people have, right?
Correct.
And essentially what you're doing with DeEEP Network, at least one of the first iterations of what DeEEP Network will do, is instead of, for example, let's say you use AWS to do that server hosting for these nodes, those are the workloads that will be distributed on everybody's nodes that bought them. So they will be actually running it instead of like an AWS or other service provider. Do I have that right?
It will be running on their node. They won't run it. Like they won't do it, but NerdNode will
Software,
run theirs
right.
through the DeEEP Network. So they just have to plug it in. It's the plug and earn. So they're going to earn in 3 different ways. Essentially, they're going to earn. So this Genesis box, this first box, whatever we're calling it, they're going to have plug-in rewards, and literally that's so you plug it into the power and you plug it into your Ethernet, your internet, and then you're going, and you're going to earn rewards on that. Every box will have a NFT that's tied to it, kind of like the Solana phone, if you want to think of it in that way, right? So and that NFT is loaded with a certain amount of DeEEP token, and it stays with that NFT for the life or until it's been used in a sense there. So you have plugin rewards, and then you have utilization rewards, which essentially is when a workload gets ran on that box itself. Those are going to be, and that'll be shared, throughout the ecosystem. Those go with the box as well. Same thing. So there's a certain amount that's locked into that box. And these are the reason we did that is because we needed to seed the ecosystem with DeEEP token, because everything is going to run with the DeEEP token internally on that system. So if somebody else comes in and says, I have, let's say Playable comes in, they have their nodes and they want to end up running all their nodes for all of their customers, but they all want to run them on the DeEEP network and they want to do it. They could be their own NerdNode essentially on the DeEEP network. And all they would have to do is go in and utilize the DeEEP token to buy these workloads off of the network itself and run those. And so
the people, basically.
For the people, exactly. And right. then with that, those hosting fees are shared, right? So the initial hosting fees are 50-50 that NerdNode we're setting. So that's the hosting fees themselves will be shared 50-50. And then if somebody else comes in and they want to be their own NerdNode or host per se, or it's not really a host, I always forget what we're calling it, but essentially they want to be their own NerdNode, then they're going to, they have 70% that they get to play with. So they can give, 50% of that to the network, and the other 20% goes to them, and then that's their fee. And then, the other 30% goes to the DeEEP network, if that makes sense. So the DeEEP network is always going to get paid because it still is going to have expenses. So that 30% is kind of like the Apple 30% for putting something on the Apple Store.
So I have a question for you. So when you're paying stuff to the DeEEP network and stuff, how does that work? Is the DeEEP network a company then, or is it something? Is it centralized or decentralized? And do they take that money and keep it, or do they burn it or use it for fees, or what?
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that it's going to go towards internally. So when you look at the light paper, and I'll pull it up here so I don't. You have community fund is one of them, and community fund is a big one. Actually, we're seeding that initial one. So part of it is community fund gets used for new development onto the DeEEP network. So if people are coming in and they say, let's say HighChain, we want HighChain to be a part of the node network. Well, somebody has to develop that, right? And whoever develops that can come in, and then it's going to go to a vote for people and the work that they do, and they'll get rewarded in DeEEP token. There's operations, much like a company for that entire network that's going to be there. Just general operations, anything that has to, you think of any company, you got marketing, you got, your bills you got to pay, you have everything that goes on in there. So you'll have your general operations that it's going to pay for. So I'm trying to break it down so it sounds a little bit better than me just mumbling.
Nate, Mr. Titan, do we have a link to this heavy paper of his?
Absolutely. Manny was kind enough to do that. Manny, by the way, I think you're the bomb. What you provided for this show is top notch. Thank you so much. Let me pull that up. Getting deep into DeEEP, baby. All right.
Be careful there.
Hey, sex sells, Faz.
Deep in to deep in. Yeah, got it.
Deep into deep in?
Deep in and share. Now let's bring it up. Where is it? Oh, wait, we got to make our faces tiny. This time you got schmoopied.
That's your word, huh?
All right.
Page not found.
Right.
There you go.
So it is, and I'll tell you what, I'm gonna FUD you a little bit here because a light paper is not light, man. This is a heavy read. You said Manny's working on getting this to be a little bit better, but this executive summary is
We meant it like
fantastic.
we meant it this way, like light, as in like you can hold it in the palm of your hand and it's like a feather, right? That's what we meant.
So I love this. I love how it breaks it down almost into bullet points. Monetize your bandwidth, uncompromising security and untrusted environments, effortless deployment. This gives you the basis of what this is and the beliefs and the vision. So everybody in Web3 should get that fair shot, and people should be compensated for the work that they do, right? It uses your internet. It uses bandwidth. It uses a machine. So it is going to be something that is actual work. It's doing something. It's hosting bits and pieces of this entire network.
Yep.
So why it works, all right, DeEEP, and that stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. So it's basically it's almost equivalent to AWS or Amazon Web Services. It turns the hard drives and the processor and the internet bandwidth into pretty much like a supercomputer. It networks them together all over the world to make one giant supercomputer for all of these things to run on. And the more nodes that are out there, the more people that contribute are going to make the network bigger, stronger, faster, just like the $6 million man. And listen, so this is like a dream of what Web3 was supposed to be like 3 years ago. People thought this was going to be easy. You're one that can attest it's not easy. And if you can stand something up that has fit, form, and function on that Web3 side, that's going to be a really, really big deal. And I think you've got a great start to this. I heard you breathe. Go ahead, man.
Oh, I was going to say, so, we were talking about the workloads we run, because right now it's nodes, right? In that sense of things, is where it all started. But really, you mentioned AWS. Well, everybody uses AWS. Every company uses AWS for something, almost every company, I should say. Or some sort of centralized server, cloud server that they can, host their website on, or their storage for, whatever files they need, that kind of stuff. And so one of our first things we've really been working on is NFTD, which most of these people here know. NFTD is the game, the guys that won the Gala hackathon that took the Gala NFTs and put them into a tower defense game. Well, we're working with them to actually put the entire game into a node software that will be ran on this network. So completely making that game a Web3 game, decentralizing it, completely, the whole thing. So right now we have a few pieces that we're able to work with, mostly storage stuff right now. But we have a couple of open sourced software company or software that we're working on to work with the actual, the gameplay itself and the client, all the client information, and then putting that into its own little software package. And then that will essentially go onto the network itself, to be able to be ran as well. So that's kind of cool.
Now, I love you to death. We've been friends for years now, but I do got to give you some flack on this.
Do it.
I'm seeing a ton of the buzzwords, the decentralized, right?
Uh-huh.
And you've heard me argue about decentralization. I'm a hardcore decentralized kind of guy. But is there going to be any gating for what people can put on these in the DeEEP network on people's nodes?
100%.
Well, then that's not decentralized.
That's kind of where I was going.
Yeah. So the question to you is, so is the network not decentralized, or is it the actual workloads? Are you saying that every workload, just because you can run every workload, makes it decentralized?
Oh, well, let me chime in here, because I've had argument after argument with Titan about the meaning of decentralized. And only recently have I gotten him to back down, but not much. And basically, he's saying if there's any element of this that is not centralized, that is centralized, it's not decentralized. Let me finish. And recently, I've gotten him to understand that you literally cannot have every single element decentralized. You need some sort of command and control. And unless you have even a DAO is centralized in a way. So that's something I want to throw in there. So I'm defending Nate here, and I want to call out Titan for giving other projects such crap about this isn't decentralized. There's always a section that is, a part that is, and Nate said the exact same thing. What
let me ask you a question.
Are you talking about?
Well, let me ask. Well, two things. One is, so the network itself will be decentralized, meaning like the DeEEP network, both in the actual hardware, how it's owned and operated by individuals throughout the world, will be decentralized. They're not owned by, a single company, right? Or a couple companies, right? And then as it turns into a DAO, right, that ownership of the income, the DeEEP that gets utilized internally, will also be decentralized. The people that use the DeEEP network, right, in order to safeguard these people from, legal sides of things, legalities and whatnot, we have chosen to make it so the DeEEP network itself. So Ben says, so we will have an attestation of following the rules by creators of the services to run on the network. And see, Ben he's just so much more like literate than I am. He says it so much better. But I want to ask you, Titan, so are you a black and white in terms of decentralization, or is there a gray area for you?
So as Faz alluded to, I've gone from black and white to a very, very dark shade of gray. And what I mean by that is he's gotten me to understand that nothing can be truly 1000% like decentralized, right? But here's the big issues that I have with decentralization. Number one, having just boxes spread out all over the world is just that. It's having boxes spread out. It has nothing to do with decentralization. Number two, the software that actually runs these boxes, if it's controlled by one company, that's not decentralized. If nobody can put anything on that network without going through a gate, it is not decentralized. Now, can there be a higher degree of decentralization than, let's say, AWS? That's where Faz has gotten me to come around and say, okay, I'll agree with that. It's better than AWS, but I still don't believe it's decentralized.
Right. So then in this sense, the network, right, the decentralization of the hardware and the software will be owned by DeEEP, which will be owned by the many as well. So it won't be owned by one. It will be one company, but that one company is owned by many.
So just super quick sidebar. I don't want to go into the weeds on this.
Yeah, you do.
I don't, because it'll take us totally off track. I don't want to do that because we're going in a good direction.
Off track right now.
This is totally, we're digging into the network here. So is this network going to be a separate DAO, or is that going to be part of like the GG Collective because they're putting like NFTD on it, or
nope.
Are we going to be able to invest in the DeEEP Network DAO like we have with the GG Collective?
So, yes, potentially. We don't have the exact roadmap of that yet. The ideas are going to be that we want node owners to have an ownership share of the network, and then potentially having some strategic investors to have another ownership share, and specifically hopefully having the majority being those node network individuals being the majority share of the actual ownership, if that makes sense.
Yeah, now we'll come off this sidebar. Like I said, we can go down a huge rabbit hole with this. We'll bring it back, but to me, that adds to that level of decentralization that I was talking about. Because if people, individuals or entities can buy into like the DAO ecosystem, and the governance of that is handed over to the DAO, to where perhaps they don't like the way the DeEEP Network people were programming the software, and they could vote to have an independent entity, code that software, whatever the case may be. To me, that adds huge chunks of what we call decentralization back into that network. And that's really what I push.
What we call decentralization. Okay.
Yeah. So because everybody has their own definition, right? All three of us have a different definition of what decentralization is. And I'm like the hardcore big leaner on the side. So you guys are somewhere in the middle. But to me, that's why I give people crap when they drop the word decentralization. It's like, okay, we get this thing. Well, no, wait, let me just explain the last bit and then I'll shut up. If Nate can flick a switch somewhere and shut that network off, that is, don't use the word decentralization, because it's not.
Agreed.
Okay. Wait, I have something to add here, because there's many meanings of the words sugar free, and no sugar added and stuff like that. It is fair to say the network is decentralized. It is fair to say some other part is decentralized, because it shows how it may be fault tolerant, and it shows how it may adapt. Well, that's the same thing. It shows how it's fault tolerant. Now, yeah, if you're talking about how it's run, or who's bankrolling it or something like that, there's you can come up with all sorts of definitions. But what's the important part? Is it a decentralized network? That to me is valid to say that.
I'm going to coin this phrase. You ready? Semi-decentralized. Because that, to me, I'm not saying for his network here. I'm just saying the term semi-decentralized, I can buy into that. And it's, again, about the verbiage people use. Don't call it decentralized if it's not. We can call it semi-decentralized. We can call it anything but. We can call it better than AWS. We can call it better than traditional. But to me, if you say decentralized and then it's not, that's a huge turnoff to people, because to me that's bullshitting people, and that ain't right.
How about just more decentralized than AWS?
Right.
Well,
I'm okay with that.
Well, I'll look at it this way. Like, a lot of the stuff that you said, if you're reading Ben's comments on the side over here, right? Like,
I'm posting them. Yeah.
Right. So, there is going to be a committee that votes on, what can happen, how, things decide. There is no switch to be able to turn it off, right? It's all smart contracts, right? So there's a range of decentralization, which I am agreeing with you on that, in the sense that, you can go from one end to another. But to be fair, this is going to be pretty damn decentralized, the network itself.
Okay, so there will not be a switch. Does that mean that something can go down and take that, nothing can go down and take down the network?
What do you mean, like nothing can go down? If the whole world blows up, the network goes down.
That's going a bit too far. I'm saying is there. So the reason I asked that, and why decentralization is even a thing, is frankly, like Bitcoin is considered decentralized because the government can't shut it down. The question is, can the government shut this down? Sounds like yes, it could. So yes, there is a switch.
Well, how could it shut it down?
By telling you to shut it down. If you're saying that
no, because
you can't
essentially the network itself will be running. It'll have its own network, much like Bitcoin runs itself, like by the miners and the node owners. Unless the government goes to every node owner and takes their node away from them, they can't shut it down.
So that's like saying Windows is decentralized, but Windows is very tied into Microsoft and what Microsoft wants to do. And you're basically saying if they're all running their own node software, you'd have to shut them each down individually, right? And there's nothing you can do to turn things off. What about that approval mechanism that you have? What if, because you mentioned in the pre-show, well, we don't want people running child porn on this thing. Great. What if somebody figures it out? How are you going to shut that down? The same, that's your switch.
I'm not following you on that, but yeah.
This is what I like to see, right? So I think that having a committee voted on by the community to decide rules and regulations, and having that, for lack of a better way to put it, filter, I think is a huge step in the right direction. I really do. This is what separates people that just say they're decentralized, but we know they're not, versus those who are taking active steps towards becoming decentralized. And I think that your approach to this with the GG Collective has impressed me probably more than anything else, because there is that commitment, and it's shown. It isn't just words, it's shown. So with this committee that's going to be put together to do that, I think that is a great step in the right direction. And I would say my new coin phrase of semi-decentralized out of the gate is absolutely warranted in this one. I wouldn't say decentralized, though. I have a hard time with that, and I would be a hypocrite if I thought otherwise of any network.
No, and I agree. Like I think we're all honestly in agreement in the sense that there really is no such thing as a truly decentralized network. Even when we look at Bitcoin, right? It's
right.
Like there's still pieces that are not that are somewhat centralized, right? So there is a spectrum of decentralization, and what we're trying to do is make it as decentralized as we possibly can, while having a functional network that actually has use case for real world needs.
Right,
and that's kind of what we've been showing with NerdNode. That's how we've been doing it internally, and how we've been running stuff. So
that is a great little rabbit hole we went down, because Faz said it perfectly, right? And it's that committee, it's that voting committee, and it's the community, the node owners who actually have a voice and has that recorded, because that's what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is like the gold standard, right? Pun intended. Because you have, bitcoin.org who handles the code repositories, and there has to be multi-factor, right? One person can't push code to it. It has to be voted on, and it has to be done correctly.
Right.
And that's what you're doing here, is you're putting that filter on it to say, hey, it's not me and these other three guys in my office that are deciding what goes on this network or what software is pushed or how this works. It's us as a committee, like heading this committee and listening to what the node owners and the people who are invested in our ecosystem are telling us. And that's the way we're going to run this. And then sticking to what they do, even if you don't like it, to me, that would be as decentralized as people can get. And I hope that you guys are going to be at that point.
That's our goal, man. Moving in that direction.
It's not easy. It is not easy.
Not. It's definitely not. I mean, in this, because even when we talked last, I thought we were super close to actually launching, and we just kept changing, adjusting, moving, and now here we are 2 or 3 months down the road again, like, and it's still, we're like, we want to keep pushing it out because we still want to keep making more to create it, but really we just need to get it out and get it to the people and have them be a part of it. And that's what we want to do. This first part is essentially to help us test what we've been doing internally and help people be a part of it. We're going to be opening up the Discord. Website should be live soon if it's not live already. Let's see.
So while you're pulling that up, there's a big difference, right? You said, you caught a glitch and you had to postpone and all that, right? Because on the last cast you were on, you were saying, yeah, beginning of June, we're on pace, and then shit happens and it goes sideways, right? Here's the difference. It's a month later and you've worked through those issues and you're delivering something right out of the gates versus some of these other projects that are out there. They'll promise and promise and promise, and it just never happens. And that's the difference. And that's why I get so excited about these things with Jesse, with his platform. He had delays, but he got them worked out and he was close to what it was. And there's a physical, tangible product there. Yeah. With you, with the collective, there was some talk, and you kept people apprised, and it wasn't 3 years later that stuff happened. It was just a few months. And with this project, it was a whole month. Oh my God, right? That's horrible.
This is I was going back to earlier when I was, like, thank God for Ben. And, I'm probably a pain in his ass because, I don't know exactly all the things I have to go in behind the scenes. And, he's like, well, we can't quite do it like that. So, it's partially me being super excited and trying to pull it back and not go a little too aggressive on it, but yeah, we're here. We're there. Ben says the website is live-ish. I don't know what that means.
And listen, so just to set expectations properly, it may not work perfectly the first time people spin up their nodes, right? Because things happen. And that's okay. Because you've shown a pattern of being able to fix the obstacles that you run into. And that's what Web3 needs. That's what this whole industry needs at this point, is people to actually show up and do the things that they want to do. And a lot of them just disappear, right? Faz gives me crap about that Black Eye Gaming. Oh my God, that was horrible. And, those people didn't show up. And all these other phantom companies out there who have a great light paper and an awesome web page, and we're sitting here 3 years later, and there's not a goddamn thing out there.
Okay. I appreciate the praise, and I agree that I think very highly of Nate, and I think he's done a lot of good stuff. But a lot of other projects do provide something. The Black Eye Galaxy actually had something out of the gate. The problem is they just went under. They were actually actively putting stuff out, and then they were gone. So I think part of your you should withhold some judgment and see, report as it goes along. Say that you'll be interested in seeing how they develop. A lot of companies will get something out, they'll just run out of money, and then they're gone. So, however, based upon what I've seen with NerdNode, I think Nate's staying around.
I'll be here for a while.
So far, so good, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you should see the website up. It's there. It's more of just kind of a landing page right now. Discord will be up too. Sale will be live next week for these first. I was telling the story in the pre-show, but essentially what we are doing with these first nodes, we're not doing any really big advertising or influencers type of stuff, because what we want this to be is these first nodes are going to be a part of the test net. Okay. And we at NerdNode need about 1,500 of these nodes deployed to be able to put all of our workloads onto the network. And so by doing that, if by getting these first nodes out into the test net, we can then start to test how this works, reward those test net runners with DeEEP token, which will be transferred to test net token, which will be transferred to the DeEEP token once the mainnet goes live. And that's good on a few parts. One is they're going to be the first people that actually have DeEEP token to actually see the ecosystem, which is what runs everything on here. And these are, I wasn't even looking, I was just talking. So there's the page. It's up.
What?
Does any of the stuff work in there? Read our tokenomics. Oh yeah, look at that. Goes to tokenomics.
I think this. What? Light paper? FAQ? Are you seeing something different?
No. That's the site.
People with Web3 assets. Yeah, that's a very nice site. So you're saying that there was a placeholder there before.
I thought it was. It's running.
Okay.
It's live-ish, as Ben would say.
Live-ish.
So we're doing a play on the 4th of July, kind of free Web3, 1776 DeEEP devices. So we're kind of doing a play on that internally. Like I said, we have some promotional stuff that we put together internally with NFTD. We had the guys in the office this last week, and we did some interviews with Tim and with Graham, and Ben jumps in there and talking about what NFTD did, what we're doing with the DeEEP Network, and pushing that stuff out there. One of the things that we're super, super excited about is how we're going to expand this network. And right now we've been talking to a lot of potential partners that want to deploy their workloads onto an actual node. And most of these people are Web 2.5, right? So let's take like an NFT company. Where do they put most of their NFTs? On AWS. No. Like the actual data. It's sitting on AWS somewhere, right? Like, so they don't pay their bill on AWS and it's gone, right? By taking all of this, their metadata, the information that they have, it just in the NFT side and putting it on this network, those can live forever, right? So that's
like IPFS, right?
Essentially, yeah. So we are actually going to use IPFS. We're actually working with another a Web3 storage company that will be announcing probably next.
Well, there's a few of them. There's like Filecoin and Ocean and stuff like that out there.
There's a few. Filecoin is very corporate specific. There's a couple others out there that are not as deep on that side. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So So the next sales that you'll see will most likely be partnership sales, and so it'll be said company is we're going to help develop a node software or a software that will be able to be ran on the DeEEP network, which will actually host their whatever utilities they need. It depends on the company. I mean, we've talked to like CPA companies, we've talked to other game companies, we've talked, like I said, NFT companies, all these people that are wanting to get into the Web3 space or already are, but just aren't actually Web3. They're 2.5. Like we want to make them Web3. We want to actually make you Web3. So that's kind of one of the things that we're looking at. So
you're putting pieces of the puzzle together to move them along that spectrum from Web 2 to Web 3.
100%. And putting them on a decentralized network. I know. Just gonna say it. Just don't yell at me. Put them on a decentralized network. Actually, it'll be centralized at first because
that's one word: decentralized network. Shoot it down, Titan.
I'm going to let Nate talk because we already had that argument. No need to go back.
Just messing. So Domology, is it international or just US at the moment? It's going to be Europe and US for these first boxes. And if you're outside of US and Europe, get a hold of us. Depending on where you're at, it really just comes down to hardware as a bitch to ship, from what I understand. US and EU, yep. And yeah, ping Ben. It depends on where you're at in the region. We want to be everywhere. right? Like everywhere that we could possibly send it to, even if I can get Kim Jong-un to run a few in North Korea, we'll probably send some to him too. But
what would be interesting with these nodes, and this is kind of
Kim Jong-un running them? That would be interesting if he ran some.
Something kind of interesting is people right now are running node software and they're just basically putting them on AWS. It would be really nice if I had a number of these nodes deployed out to be able to see some sort of metric to see how decentralized or how spread apart my own nodes are. Because if I'm running 6 of them from my own house, how's that really decentralized in that case?
Well, and so I really we're putting all the metrics will be online. So everything, like all the workloads will be that information is going to be on the blockchain. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah. So all that stuff is going to be there for people to see, what nodes are out there, what workloads are being run. We have internal stuff. I can't get too technical on it because I'm a dummy, but for the companies that are running their nodes, they're actually going to be able to see an incredible amount of data internally that will be shared between us and between them, so they can know who and what's going on with their nodes. That has to do with a lot of stuff for like if they're rewarding people for running them, those type of things. So, yeah.
So this has been a huge part of the success on the GG Collective, and I assume it's going to bleed over into the DeEEP Network as far as the transparency that you alluded to. Tell us a little bit about what transparency looks like on the DeEEP Network.
I mean, it's like everything else I do. Like if you have questions, ask us questions. Unless there's some sort of security issue with a company that we're developing stuff for that we can't tell you, there's no reason we're probably not going to tell you stuff. We're going to be most of the stuff that we actually develop is going to be all open source, so people can come in and develop off of it as well. We don't have any reason to hide anything, and we want everybody to see it, because if we build something great, or if somebody can help build it better, we want them to come in and help us do that. So we're going to be as transparent as we possibly can. So you know how I work.
No, we do. I'm trying to get the audience to understand how you guys work, because we know how passionate you are about that, and I want them to understand that I have a feeling, after seeing what I've seen with the collective, that this is probably going to make people's jaw drops when they're able to see all these metrics on the node network and what they can see on the blockchain themselves. And with Anthony in that background, putting together, some type of an explorer and things like that, I'm pretty excited about what we're going to be able to see.
I have a question for Mr. Nate. So you had mentioned, okay, well, if you have a question, just ask us. Where can I ask you these questions?
So we're gonna push everybody into the Discord, and
network Discord.
The DeEEP Network Discord, and I believe
Discord. The DeEEP Discord.
It's just DeEEP Discord. Yeah, I'm gonna copy this.
We're gonna get deep in. Is that right?
And I just sent it to you guys. So.
Oh, terrific.
So you're showing us the Discord, but no one else. Okay, got it. That's cool. We'll join you first.
No, you can bring them in. We're at the point where it's ready to, it's not going to be, we're not going to be fully engaged until probably next week sometime. So if you get in this weekend, it's going to be a little quiet because we're heads down, making sure we have all this stuff ready for the sale and all that kind of stuff. But definitely jump in and, we can start sharing it next week and get people in on that. So, because that's where we want to push all of it. All the questions, obviously FAQs, we're going to host those on our light paper, but we'll have a place within the Discord as well for frequently asked questions. Community members, look, how good community members can build and have, ways that we can make this better. That's how we're going to make this place great, is bringing people into the Discord and asking questions, helping us build, pushing us in the right direction. So.
Very cool. I am all set up there.
We were having a discussion this morning about kind of internally how we want the Discord to be. And I'd been in Discord for quite some time, and my most favorite Discord ever, and I know it's a bad word, but was Gala Games Discord 2020 to 2021, like mid 2021. Like it was like they did it the right way. They didn't shill a bunch of stuff. They were in there talking to the people, asking them questions. The people were asking questions and they were answering it. They were fully engaged with the community, and it was a very positive and embracing environment. And until they started to falter, it was one of the best Discords I had been into. And that's kind of how I want to build this Discord as well, because I really want to having the network the way we want it to be has to have a really good community. It has to have a community that's dedicated to it and is a huge part of it. Otherwise, it's completely just why try to make it decentralized at that point in time? Like, you need to have the community involved. You need to have their input, because we're not the smartest people in the world, right? And nobody is. There's always somebody that's going to have an answer to a question that's a little bit different than yours that might make it better. And the people that think that they know everything and they know best for everything are the ones that are blinded by growth, or they don't get to grow because they're blinded by what they don't want to see. So we want to be open to all that.
A word to the wise here, then, if the DeEEP Network becomes successful, then I want to quote you right here, right now, from what you just said, and hopefully you'll still be down to earth with the rest of us.
Oh no. Sorry. I'm out on that one.
I don't know where this one's going, but I'm interested.
Bro, I'm old, man. I'm old. I've got another kid on the way. I've got to get out of this rat race at some point in time. Come on. I got a good 2.5, 3 months left in me. No, just kidding.
Every 3 or 4 years, you're gonna change, get a rest and then start something new, right?
Oh, I know. It's the serial entrepreneur.
I want to make sure that, like I said, if DeEEP Network becomes as big as we'd all like it to be, I'm hoping that you're going to be, one of us still, and not one of them, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I'm always been one of you. Like I'm only 1-0 away from one of them. Okay.
But then once you are, then are you going to be as cool? You're still going to hang out with us?
I dare. I'll have you ask Tim. Tim actually stayed at my house when he came here, right? Ask Tim, like, how I live and who I am. Like, I live a very simple life. I'm not.
Well, you and I have the same truck, so.
Exactly. I drive a truck. Although I did buy a new truck. I bought the ZR2, so I did get a little.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I live a simple life. I live in a 2,000 square foot house. Now, I did buy a newer house. It is a little bit bigger, but I have another kid on the way, so I need a bigger house. I have 2 acres. I've got goats and chickens, right? Like, This is who I am. Like, I love to go hunting. I love the outdoors. I go away. Next week I'm going fishing in Alaska. I'm going to be gone fishing. So
nice.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. That's me. So I doubt that's going to change. If it hasn't changed in 47 years, and I don't think extra money is going to change that at all. So,
all right, let's hope not. I'll call you out on it. Well, you won't be talking to us anymore. You
can slam me all over the place. You can be like, "Hey, look at this guy. He's a big liar." You do it.
He's going to remember. He's going to be like Fizz, some guy like that.
No, here's the thing. I know how I can get to it. I just pay Faz off. I know how it is. Okay, Faz.
There you go.
Let me buy your zip bugs.
Hey, yeah. Speaking of that, yeah.
Oh God, you had
it. I said it.
Yeah. Zip bug of the day here. Server node here. Inspired by the DeEEP Network. So that's my 2 cents for a zip bug for today. Kind of looks like one of those node.
It does. Nodes. Yeah. If you pull up that node, it looks just like that node.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's my segue. You guys get back to your regularly scheduled talk.
No, so look, this is something that is testing the boundaries yet again. We get this, and that's what Web3 is about, is testing what you can accomplish. And it's not all going to be roses going forward. But the point is that when you get involved with people like Nate, who have a huge and respected, and you can go back and look at it, a commitment to doing it the right way by doing it with the people who know what they're doing and wants to make something happen and has a laser focus, like he alluded to earlier. He was kind of hard on everybody getting everything ready. Those are the kind of projects that you should be looking at, right? That is off the table for anything that doesn't do those things. He has a history of taking care of people, and that is miles above what anybody else in this space is doing. They post their stupid meme shit and then they disappear. That's not what this guy's about, and that's not what the whole network of people that he associates with is about. And we can see that physically today, right now. That's huge, because I could go off and totally take us off the rails, but I do think that crypto as a whole, and even Web3, is starting to fall off the rails because of all the stupidity out there. And it's innovators and people like NerdNode and DeEEP Network and GG Collective who are harnessing this power and pulling it together into a cohesive, real, tangible thing. That's the difference. And I think that's freaking huge. I respect the hell out of that.
I appreciate that, man. There's a question on the side I want to answer. And Ben kind of answered already. Says, do you plan to go with the fixed amount of machines, or while there is interest, you are selling? So basically what we're doing is we have this first sale. And like Ben said, our goal is to sell boxes that match demand. So one of the things that we're building into it is more of a kind of an ebb and flow of how you have workloads that need to be ran, and then you have the amount of machines that are in the network. One of the things that we saw with Helium was, they sold a shit ton of their actual hardware devices, and they really didn't have any demand for the other side. And so it was really lopsided in terms of, how that went. And so what our goal is, and this, when we talked about the partnerships, is as we continue to sell, right, we're either going to sell because we bring on a partner that now has new nodes that need to be ran on this network to intermix it. And so there's a certain amount that needs to be sold, or we add new workloads to the offerings. So whatever new workloads need to be coming out on there. And so we need to have new nodes that go into the network. So we don't want to sell 50,000 nodes and have the same workloads that we currently have with NerdNode, because the actual money that would be shared would be so small, it wouldn't make any sense, right? We want this to be a fair and equitable network that goes all the way around. So we're not doing it as. Yep.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
Does that mean you're leaving money on the table? I mean, if people are going to buy this stuff, if people are clamoring to buy these nodes, why not just sell them?
I mean, again, if we sell those nodes, one of the things we thought about was doing that, like just pushing out and really like, hey, we're going to sell 50, 100,000. We felt like we could get a really good push, especially coming into the bull market and the prices we were going to sell them at, and sell a bunch of these nodes. But with the amount of workloads that we could go on it, we'd have to match those workloads, which I was fairly confident with, bringing in a solid sales team, we could, and really start working on new workloads to add to it. But what that would do is put a lot of pressure on one side of the network, in my opinion. So you're going to have way too much pressure on the fact that you're scrambling to get all these new workloads in, and you might not be able to do what you need to. So, and like Ben says here, we're literally the hardware side. We're not making any money on selling this hardware. Like
those look like Optiplex boxes.
I can't remember the name of them.
Well, they're a certain type of computer now. So,
yeah,
I mean,
but you'll see, like, when you see the specs on them and everything else like that, you'll go out there, you can price them, and you'll see, like, in terms of what's there, we have built into our software on that, which a couple $100 maybe after shipping, if we're lucky, per node, maybe less. especially at the 11 that might be actually close to zero.
Wait, what did you say? Did you just name the
Did
price?
you just say a price there? What?
Well, you had it up there earlier, didn't you? Oh no, I have it up on mine.
Maybe.
I have it up on mine. Well, click on the buy
We're
now
letting
button.
you say all this stuff. We're not going to steal your thunder.
Stop. It's our Thumber. It's Thumber. Thumber? I haven't even
Thumber?
drank.
I've got my wine tonight. I've got my Cleveland Browns wine.
It's got to be the best wine in the world.
It's probably like Mad Dog 2020 thrown in a
Say,
fancy bottle.
Who wants brown wine? No, if you pull up the website, click on the buy now button. I wonder if you can actually buy now.
I don't know. I had it up. I closed it.
It automatically puts me at 2 devices, apparently.
Buy now. Let's see. Oh, it lets me buy. He's got it working, man. You put the pressure on.
Okay, so what if you have somebody coming in, because this is what happened with Gala actually. What if you had somebody coming in and wanting to buy 12,000 nodes right off the bat? Are you all sold out then?
12,000 nodes? I'd have to talk with who wants to buy 12,000 nodes and where are they
What I'm getting at,
nodes.
What I'm getting at is what happened with Gala and with some other projects is the whales will come in and they'll say, hey, you've got a good thing. I'm gonna buy a whole fuck ton of these, and then of course they stop selling, or whatever, because maybe they run out.
Yeah, so there's 2 sides to it, right? One,
Don't type in your credit card information there, buddy. Just saying, this is live. You want to?
No, go ahead. Let me get my pencil real quick. Okay, I lost my train of thought here. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, if somebody buys a whole bunch. So if they come in and they buy 12,000 nodes, where are they going to run 12,000 nodes first off? So if somebody comes to us, really, we don't see anybody really wanting to buy more than 10 or 20, maybe at the most, maybe 50. But they have to have, at that point in time, the ability to run 50 of these nodes. So these are hardware nodes. This isn't a software node, right? You have to have the ability to plug them in, have what? Pay with cryptocurrency?
You can pay with cryptocurrency, dude.
Well, hell yeah, you can. What?
Yes. That rocks.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, that's the first side of it, right? On the second side, I don't think you can even, put in 20. Can you buy 20?
I don't know.
It says I can. I wonder if it stops you. We'll have to see.
Nope. It's going to charge me $22,000.
We'll go through it and see if it actually charges you.
Thanks for obligating me.
So essentially what we in this first sale, like if somebody wants to buy 1,000 of these nodes, we need to make sure that they're going to be able to run them.
Oof.
We are, by the way, going to be able to have the ability for people that don't have the ability to plug this in their own home, or maybe they don't want to plug it in their own home. And we're going to have some providers that will end up, they'll get the actual box sent to them, and then that reward that they get will be shared between the two of them. So I can't remember what we call those.
So this is, you can buy them right now then, huh? Did you say the sale was going to start at a certain point, or before?
Apparently it starts right now.
Okay.
Lock it up. Here, Mom.
Faz is going to Faz your mom. Is that it?
So that's the other side of it. Some people may not want to run these, or plug them into their home. Some people get a little scared on that, and if they still want to be a part of the network, they can buy the node. And this isn't not right now, but this will be soon. We'll have partners that will be able to that will run those nodes and have they'll share in the rewards with that in the rewards. One of the other things that we're looking at doing potentially down the road, instead of actually having this hardware with us, is we are working with different companies like Asus and Dell to actually just put it directly onto their site, and their hardware will come directly from them. And that way, we really don't want to sell hardware, We just want the hardware that we can use out there. So it's doing it right now.
It's thinking. Yeah, it looks like you can buy them right now.
Looks like it. All right.
Ben has his back end.
It's all
in
fun and
order there.
games until you actually hit that button and it says, "I'm sorry, transaction has been denied."
Just go ahead and send that to me real quick. The 333,000. It's fine. I promise. I'll send it
All
right
right.
back. I'll send it right back.
Well, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
This
All right.
is awesome. So people can apparently go buy them right now, which is fantastic. So what is your timeline on like shipping these nodes out?
Good question. That's actually one of the ones I wanted to get to. Is so we want to do these in batches. Essentially, it's going to be probably a 8 to 10 week lead time from when when the order goes through to when it's actually delivered to your house.
8 weeks, you said? What?
8 to 10 weeks.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a while. Are they?
Well, they
building
got to
it?
load everything up, and
Yep.
they've got to get it all organized,
Yeah.
right?
So
It's
yeah, we
brand
gotta get
new.
we gotta get the software loaded on there. Make sure it's they're coming from China probably. I'm pretty sure. And you got all the
TikTok pre-installed, baby.
taxes and all that stuff. TikTok pre-installed.
Wait, you're
But-
taking out taxes for us? That's great.
Well, that's why we're doing U.S. and EU right now. There's a lot of tax issues with all the tariffs and things that goes on. Hardware is a nightmare. Like they keep every day. It's like there's something new that they keep talking about the hardware. We can't do it because of this. It's like that's why we want to go through like a Dell or an Asus. So it literally would just be like you're buying it and here it is. It goes directly to their site and you're done. It's a lot easier.
Well, yeah, that's why I said because the on the website when we had it up, where it said see the node, it looked like the optiplexes that I have back here.
Yeah.
I have 4, 5, 6 optiplexes that I run stuff on. So I saw that and I was like, hey, that looks really familiar. It's like what I got in my IT closet behind me.
Actually, you want to know whose fault it is, why we're doing it this way and why it's going to do that way? It's your fault, Titan. Because you were like, you can't make them very expensive. You can't make them expensive. So we've been literally working our ass off trying to make it as cheap as possible, but without skimping on the security. The security is the biggest thing that we have to have with the box.
Absolutely.
So literally that's been the bane of Ben's existence. So Ben, Titan is your man to cuss out, just so you know.
So listen, no, that's true. So I always bitch about these things, but it's because I can't game with them. They're not powerful enough to game with, but they are solid boxes. I have 6 of them in the house that are running 24/7 and have been for years. Not one glitch, not one problem. So they are very, very good boxes.
Yeah,
and they're affordable. They really are.
Yep. We got them. So it has to be Titan approved. Yeah, we're gonna put a stamp of approval on it from Titan.
No, and I'm telling you, 1111. So the significance of that. So I was pulling that up from the green room. 1111 is the perfect number. I thought you picked it because when you look up 1111 and why it's considered lucky, it's a time when the universe is listening to you. So they say make a wish at 1111, whether it's AM or PM.
Okay.
Your consciousness flows through to the universe at that point. So that is like epic for the mantra of this network, right? It's about spiritual enlightenment and ascension.
What? What the fuck?
Yes.
Sorry, I was not paying attention for a minute, and when I came back, you're just talking about all mystical shit. This
That's
is a fucking
right.
computer network, dude. Okay?
So
It's
so
a round
listen.
curve, not the flat one.
Well, yeah. So that's the next thing. We like this is some alpha for you. All right. We've been working on this from day one, and once you get your box, you're actually going to be able to upload your consciousness to it. Faz. Like
Huh?
you're literally gonna be able to plug right into it, upload your conscious to it.
Well,
You're
wash
gonna be-
dishes as well, though. I
You're
want
going to be in the matrix now. You're welcome.
Yes. You got to make it have the screensaver with the Matrix shit coming down. Really freak people out.
Love it.
So listen, so you did hit the good box, the good security, and I have to say 1111 is a fantastic number. That is Titan approved as well.
So
That's
what you say is
reasonable.
they're being sold for $1,111. Starting now.
Yes, that's absolutely reasonable, right? I can't stand when you go to these websites and they're like, oh, it's $7,000 for a node. No, nobody can afford that in this economy. Are you kidding me? You want everyday regular people to be able to participate in this and be a part of this. 1111, perfect number. I love it.
Awesome.
Okay, so we need a link to this website here.
I tried pasting it, but apparently I'm a scammer.
No, don't worry about it. It's already in the show notes. You can go right now in the show notes and you can go to the website. And why is that? Because Manny hooked this guy up.
Nice,
Manny's the bomb.
He is. Ben's mad at me because I'm overcommitting to engineering, saying that you can upload your consciousness. It's not that big of a deal, Ben. You know, it's just you click a couple buttons.
It's only 700 terabytes of information. What the hell, Ben?
No, Faz isn't. We know Faz is way smaller than that. Like,
what about his memory?
that was gone a long time ago. Come on, you know.
I don't see a link to the website in our show notes, sir.
It should be in there. He sent me a whole blob of links.
I see Twitter. Website. It's hidden in the middle.
See? No, it's not hidden anywhere. It's all right there.
Oh, stop. You're just mad because I was right about decentralization.
Yeah, go. If you
everything.
guys go to the Discord, join the Discord, start, asking questions, talking to the people there. Like you'll see.
We do need that. I have to get a link. I have to put a link in there for an invite.
He probably didn't give that to you, so
let me do that. Copy the link. Oh wait, I have to edit that to be unlimited. No limit. Generate my link. Copy. I'm going to put, because you know how Titan operates. If I don't fricking do it like literally right now, I will never circle back and do it. Because I get too excited with stuff. I'm excitable. I'm an excitable guy.
Well, that's one of the things that we wanted to have in the Discord too is the founders, right? Being a part of it. So, you're going to have, Ben will be in there. Chris will be in there. Well, the two Chris's. Anthony will be in there. So
I noticed another interesting name in there too.
Who's that?
Core Team, Nephilium Haas.
Yes.
Nephilim,
he was brought in specially, actually, just to set up the Discord. So Manny brought him in to set up the Discord. So
very cool.
Yeah, he helped us out a ton. It was great. Really appreciate what he did.
I'm pretty sure he took off and went with Brink over at LFG. No,
he did. Yep. Which I do want to clarify because I know Brink. I want to bring this up because I know Brink brought it up on your podcast and said that we are working together. Right. I just want to make sure that it's clear that there's no like official contract or anything like that. What we want to do for LFG, if it happens, is more for the clients of LFG, is what we're doing with all other clients as well. Is this if they're deploying a node, well, one NerdNode can run it, or the DeEEP Network will, if we can actually make them Web3 and put their processes onto a node, we can help do that as well. So that's what we're there. That's what we're here for. So.
Very cool. That's a good clarification because for a while there, it was all kind of jumbled together. Nobody knew what the hell anybody was doing anymore.
I'll have you know that
you got people scattering all over the place.
I just bought my nodes.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Man. We should have a tick. Do we have a ticker of how many are sold somewhere?
I don't know, the receipt number is like 9 fucking digits long. It's not like it's receipt number 7 or something. I feel kind of cheated.
Oh my God, Ben, goddamn it, get on a node ticker.
Make it so that's like, oh my gosh, there's only one left. Tighten.
Oh my God. Yeah, so it says 1776 remaining, and since I just bought one, at least one, there should be less, but there's not.
Well, now wait a minute, I want one of those too.
Well,
I'm gonna have to go buy one. I'm gonna buy one after the show. I'm not gonna be rude to the people watching this.
It says 1776 devices remaining. That's not a ticker; it's a lie.
They just took your money, man. What the hell?
Thanks for your donation, Faz.
I know where your donation.
8 to 10 weeks, you'll get your node. Yeah.
Look, my flight out of country is only going to be 12 hours.
Let's just say that it's going to be marketing. If they don't arrive, then I will mention it every single show until they fucking show up.
Poor Ben. Hey, Ben. We're just picking on you. That's kind of what we do when we get together with the three of us, is just rip each other to shreds. Now you're a part of the crew because Nate mentioned your name. Now you're in trouble.
Ben can handle it.
So I should, if everybody's going to be, if everybody's going to be ordering from now on, then I should be getting mine first, right? So 8 to 10 weeks, you said?
8 to 10
He's
weeks.
putting it on the calendar.
I can put it on the fucking calendar, man. I'm going to, in 3 months, what the fuck?
Yes. But it is a Friday, so it really doesn't start counting until Monday. But then also next week is a holiday week, so really the week after that you should start it. So
well, thanks for qualifying.
No worries. Hey, so listen, leave people with some epic words of wisdom about moving forward with the DeEEP Network. What can they expect? We showed kind of the roadmap a little bit. Over the next 30 to 60 days, what can people expect? Besides being able to go buy their nodes, obviously.
Yeah, I think you can expect, like, if you get into the Discord, you can expect some collaboration, answers to your questions. You're gonna see partnerships being announced over the next 30 to 60 days. And these are, again, people that we are actively working to make them Web3, to put them onto our network. Those are things you're going to see. Just everything that we keep adding and that we're trying to create with it, we're just going to be posting and showing you guys everything that's going on. And the moment that those nodes go live, you're going to start to see the data that starts to get pushed out. You'll see what we're trying to run on workloads. We'll be communicating everything that we're doing. So we're going to build this together. Just like we do everything.
Very cool. I'm glad we finally caught up. I'm glad that we finally got you on here. I'm glad that your network is rolling out. I'm glad you have an epic team. I mean, this is good stuff, man. I'm really excited.
When can we talk to you next about this?
End of July.
So when I get my notes, right? That's when we talk.
Faz will plug it in. He'll plug it in on air live.
End of July is literally like 4 weeks away. What are you talking about?
That's actually a neat idea, to plug in my node live and be like, okay, oh, look, it just fell over. I guarantee, by the way, you're dealing with hardware, you're dealing with new software that sounds like you wrote. I guarantee there's going to be some sort of hiccup in the beginning. People are going to start it up. Just working with Gal nodes and other nodes, I guarantee it.
Never. Hardware never fails.
So
now
I think we have I think these boxes have a 2-year or 3-year warranty with them.
So here's what's going to happen.
Oh, okay, wait. That's a good question. So, okay, fine. When you say 2 or 3 year warranty, so if the nodes just stop working after a while, we're good for up to 2 or 3 years, and then we're on our own.
Don't quote me. I know you like to quote me. Let me get that information for sure and let you know what that looks like. There is some sort of warranty.
Possibly be some sort of warranty, maybe.
Yes, there is some sort of warranty with these. I think we may down the road have the ability to upgrade those warranties as well, or allow people to upgrade those warranties. Again, that's the nice thing if we start getting with like AWS and Dell and that kind of stuff. It's just you go through it. It's one of those drop down menus. here you go. This is what it's going to be. So,
well, you know, there's
I'm pretty
also
sure these have warranties with them as well, but I don't know the
also
exact specs of
Microsoft
them.
Azure too that you can set up with.
2-year warranty. Ben said
2-year warranty. Good.
So
Yeah.
so Faz is really giving the business to Nate over here, Ben. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to deliver his nodes early in 6 to 8 weeks instead. And then I want you wait. And then I want you to send them without the power cords and then charge them $5,000 for each power cord.
I'm in. Do we get an extra
Plug
$5,000?
it ready. So you plug it in. It's supposed to be working, right?
Yeah. Special power cord. The power cord's decentralized and it's on the blockchain.
Okay, wait. Just make the unit free, okay? And then sell the cords.
Done. I like that
Awesome.
idea.
Very
So,
cool.
What other? You got more questions? What do you got left? I'm
I
gonna
was
go
just
watch
gonna ask
fireworks.
you
I think.
I was just going to ask you when you can hang out next, actually. I mean, just like hanging like me and you and maybe Titan.
End of July.
End of July. Let's do it.
Titan, you
man.
gonna fly? You gonna fly here in July?
So I'll have to look at airfares, but that might be a possibility. In August, I'm off for the next week now, and I'm gonna take some time off in August. If we can find the means to make it happen, maybe I'll pop out for a few days in August.
I am available in August except for 1 week, except for the week of the 12th. Otherwise, I'm open in August too. So
I will absolutely take a look at that because it's been over a year since I seen you, Muggs.
yeah, man, it'd be good. Have you in there. We can do another podcast in the studio and have some fun.
Yes. Hell
There you
yeah.
go.
Nate, all the love in the world, brother. You take it easy. Don't be too hard on those guys. They're working hard, obviously. I am adamantly in favor of you getting this up and running, hopefully on the first try. So keep knocking the ball out of the park. What you guys are doing is freaking amazing, man. I have no words. No words.
Appreciate it.
Can you stay after for a few, Mr. Nate?
Yep. I got a couple minutes I can stay after.
All right. Well, it's the end of the line for you guys. So really appreciate you guys stopping by, listening to Nate hawk his wares, which I bought one of already. So it must be Faz approved, I guess. But I'm actually, honestly, I'll say I'm doing that on Nate's reputation, and I know him personally, and I know where he lives. So, we'll see what happens. If I get pissed off, I'll just come find him and be like, throw these in his face. What the fuck? Anyway, thank you very much, Nate, for being on the show. Very much appreciated.